Welcome to the OPM Report, a series of programs where we provide you with insight into key government decisions, programs and policies and how they affect you, the people of Trinidad and Tobago. In this episode, we'll be telling you about government's ongoing efforts to improve national security. We'll take a look at local government reform and also at key pieces of legislation aimed at stamping out the scourge of corruption. But first, let's take a look at government's housing policy. Owning a home is a dream held by most people. In fact, buying a house is identified as the single largest purchase most people make during their lifetime. The cost of houses on the open market, however, puts this dream out of the reach of many citizens. Government's housing policy seeks to make the dream of home ownership more attainable for low to middle income earners and is built upon three main pillars. The first is affordability, building quality homes at a cost which would be reasonable and accessible through affordable mortgages, rent-to-own and license-to-occupy programs. The second pillar is accessibility, constructing homes in high-demand areas across the country. The third and final pillar is improvement in the quality of living through the provision of security of tenure to squatters, as well as grants for home improvement and community upgrades. Unfortunately, the demand for government housing far outweighs the supply, with some 160,000 applications now before the Housing Development Corporation.
There are a number of models which a person could pursue to put that roof over your head. But in Trinidad and Tobago, given our history, our geography, and all other things, our economic circumstances, it has been the government of Trinidad and Tobago through public policy that has had the single largest effect on growing and expanding the housing stock in Trinidad and Tobago.
The East-West Corridor is the geographic location with the highest demand for affordable housing. As such, over the last year, 3 sod turning ceremonies have been held in that region to help meet the demand. So what government is producing in accordance with the pillars of the housing policy is affordable, accessible, quality housing for qualifying citizens. One cannot overstate the significance of having a place to call home. The sense of security, accomplishment, and the pride that comes with having a home is now closer to reality for many citizens. We all want to feel safe and secure in our homes and in our communities. Unfortunately, there are a few persons among us whose behavior is a cause for continuing national concern. These people believe that they can terrorize communities all over the country without fear of being caught and prosecuted. However, Prime Minister Rowley has made the safety of our communities a #1 priority for his government.
It is a great pity that at this time of shortage, that we are having to divert so much of our resources to treat with national security and community safety. But that is #1. Because whatever else you have, however else you may feel, whoever you are, if you don't have personal safety, nothing else matters.
The National Security Council, headed by the Prime Minister, meets regularly. The various arms of the national security apparatus are being challenged to deliver on their responsibilities with the unstinting support of the government. While controlling crime might be identified as one of Trinidad and Tobago's challenges, it is also an area receiving consistent and intense attention by the government. Over the years, successive governments have spoken about implementing local government reform. However, this administration, under the leadership of Dr. Keith Rowley, are demonstrating its commitment to breaking that cycle of inaction. Legislation to reform local government reform has already been drafted by the Minister in the Ministry of the Attorney General and Legal Affairs, the Honorable Stuart Young. The new legislation will empower local regional corporations to govern their own regions. Between December 2015 and April 2016, 14 local government reform consultations were held in each region to ensure that you, the citizens of Trinidad and Tobago, had a say in the development of your community. Local government bodies will be given a new structure, additional financing, and increase its goal to root out corruption in the country. Corporations will be allowed to retain certain taxes collected within their boundaries, and councillors will be employed full-time. Regional corporations will be given statutory authority to handle a broad range of new responsibilities, including social services delivery, school maintenance, maintenance of recreational grounds, local tourism, and disaster management. A total of 1,400 new municipal police officers will be employed to do community policing. That breaks down to 100 new officers in each corporation. The new organizational structure of the regional corporations will also create employment for engineers, quantity surveyors, and other graduates, as well as community-based contractors. This will greatly contribute to the enhancement of the communities and its residents. All of government's initiatives, whether in the area of housing, national security, or local government, could only be truly effective and deliver value for money if at every stage there's transparency and accountability. In May 2016, the Prime Minister attended an anti-corruption summit in London hosted by former UK Prime Minister David Cameron. At the summit, Prime Minister Rowley noted that Trinidad and Tobago is open and committed to assisting international partners in the fight against corruption. Here at home, government continues to make progress in its goal to root out corruption in the state sector. Amendments are being made to our public procurement legislation. A whistleblower bill is now before a joint select committee of the Parliament. The consultation process aimed at the reform of campaign finance legislation will begin soon, and our civil service asset forfeiture legislation is being strengthened. In further demonstration of government's commitment to good governance, Prime Minister Rowley maintains a positive and ongoing dialogue with the Trinidad and Tobago Transparency Institute. In September, Prime Minister Rowley met for a second time since coming into office with the Transparency Institute. During the meeting, the Prime Minister gave the assurance that legislation targeted to stop corruption was receiving the attention of the government. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the OPM Report, where we keep you updated on what's happening with your government.